The war between the Starnix Empire and the rebels had reached a boiling point. Space was filled with smoke, broken ships, and desperate signals. On the far edge of the front lines, a royal ship flew fast through a storm of enemy fire. Inside the ship sat Princess Serenia of the Azrael bloodline. Her silver skin glowed under the dim lights. Her eyes sharp and cold watched the flickering hologram map in front of her. She was not pleased. "Why am I being sent to a battlefield?" she asked with irritation. "I am not a soldier." Commander beside her bowed his head. "Orders from the High Council, Your Grace. They believe your presence will inspire our troops, and they are fools," she muttered. Just then, a loud alarm rang out. Red lights flashed. The ship shook violently. Serenia grabbed a handle to steady herself. "Incoming enemy fire," shouted a soldier. Before anyone could react, the ship was hit. Explosions burst through the side panels. The crew screamed. Fire filled the hallway. The princess was thrown to the ground. A second later, armored arms picked her up and pulled her out of the wreckage. "Stay low," the man shouted. He carried her through the burning ship, kicking open a hatch and diving out just as the vessel cracked in two. They landed hard in the snowy mountains of the planet below. The princess groaned and looked up. A tall human man stood over her wearing dark battle armor with a simple symbol across the chest. She had never seen him before. His face was covered with dust, his eyes focused and calm. "Who are you?" she asked. "Your guard," he replied shortly. "Orders were to protect you." She frowned. "I don't need a human to protect me." He didn't answer. Instead, he scanned the sky. Enemy fighters flew above, searching for survivors. He grabbed her hand. "We move. Now." She hesitated. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Not even alien generals dared use that tone. Something in his voice made her obey. They ran through the frozen woods for hours. Snow crunched under their boots. The princess was cold and angry, but the human named Carter never slowed down. He moved with purpose, like someone who had walked these paths before. "You didn't tell me your name?" she said finally. "Carter," he said. "Just Carter? That's enough." They reached a cave hidden by thick branches. Inside, he lit a small fire and handed her a ration bar. She looked at it like it was a rock. "It's food," he said. "I eat better than this. Not today." She sat in. Silence. Carter leaned against the wall, his face half in shadow. There was something strange about him. He seemed to know her, not just as royalty, but in a deeper way. He watched her like someone who remembered everything about her. "Have we met before?" she asked. "No," he lied. She didn't believe him. Her eyes narrowed, but she said nothing. The next morning, they began walking again. Carter always stayed ahead, checking every path, every sound. He moved like a shadow. Once, when enemy drones flew by, he pulled her into a trench and covered her with his body until they passed. Serenia felt her heart beat faster, not out of fear, but confusion. Why did this human care so much? Why did he never ask for thanks? Later that night, while resting under an old tree, he hummed a soft tune. It was a melody she hadn't heard in years. Her eyes widened. "Where did you learn that song?" He stopped. "Humming." "What song? The one you were just humming?" "That was... ... That was from my childhood." He looked away. Must have picked it up somewhere. "No. Only one person knew that song. Servant boy. He was taken away when I was young." Carter said nothing. "What was your job before the war?" she asked. "Security, transport, basic stuff." She didn't believe that either. In the days that followed, they grew closer, but the mystery deepened. When she panicked, he knew how to make her laugh with a dry joke. He even knew she hated cold meals. She never told him those things. "Are you spying on me?" she asked one evening. No quotes. No. "Then why do you know everything about me?" "Because ... I listen." That night she dreamed of her palace, a small human boy who always followed her with silent eyes. She remembered how he was taken away by royal guards. She had cried. She had never seen him again when she woke up. Carter was standing at the cave entrance, watching the sky. "We move in 10 minutes, he said. "You were that boy," she said softly. He didn't reply. She stepped closer. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I wasn't supposed to exist." "Anymore?" She stared at him. His face, though changed by time and war, now seemed familiar. Her mind pieced the fragments together. He was the one who used to follow her through the palace gardens. He was the one who used to bring her favorite fruit without being asked. The one who sat outside her room every night without complaint. And now, after all these years, he had returned. Not as a servant, not as a child, but as a warrior. Her warrior. The wind outside the cave howled like a beast in pain. Snow continued to fall, covering their footprints behind them. Carter sat silently, checking his weapon and adjusting the small communicator on his wrist. Princess Serenia stood near the fire, arms crossed, her mind heavy with questions. She looked at him again. Now she saw more than just a soldier. His face, though roughened by war, had something familiar, something that pulled memories from long. "Oh, go, your name wasn't Carter before," she said. He didn't look at her. "Doesn't matter what it was. It does to me," she said, stepping closer. "I need to know." He let out a slow breath. "I was called Leo, short for Leonin. Your father gave me that name when I was assigned to you." Her heart skipped. "Leo, I remember. You used to braid my hair when my maids were away. You were always there, just behind me." "That was a long time ago," he said. They said. "You were taken to the mines, that you disobeyed the royal code." "I didn't disobey," he said quietly. "I just didn't want a human growing too close to royalty." She sat down beside him. For the first time in days, the distance between them felt real, heavy, painful. "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" He looked into the fire. "Because I wasn't sure you'd want to remember me." Serenia stayed quiet for a while, then said, "I remembered you the moment you hummed that song." Leo gave a soft smile, almost sad. "I hummed it every night. In the mines. To remember the palace. To remember you." The fire cracked. Outside, the storm softened. "You've changed," she said. "So have you." Their eyes met. No more words were needed in that moment. The next morning, they continued their journey. Leo led them through a frozen valley, avoiding drone patrols and setting traps to distract any trackers. Serenia followed him closely, trusting every step he took. As they climbed a ridge, a flash of movement caught their eyes. 5 rebel soldiers blocked the path ahead, weapons raised. "Drop your gear," one of them shouted. Leo stepped in front of Serenia, raising his hand slowly. "We're not your enemies." "She's the princess," the soldier growled. "We could trade her for 10 star cruisers." "You could try," Leo said, "but you won't make it off this mountain." The rebels laughed. Then Leo moved. In a blur, he rushed forward. His fists moved like thunder. One soldier was knocked out with a single hit. The second tried to shoot, but Leo slammed his shoulder into him and tossed him down the slope. Serenia, with a stun blade she had hidden, disarmed a third attacker. While Leo handled the rest, within minutes, the fight was over. The rebels were unconscious. Serenia looked at Leo with new eyes. "You weren't just trained for protection, were you?" He wiped blood from his lip. "I trained for war after they threw me into the mines. Someone found me, someone who taught me to fight." "Who?" she asked. He paused. "A former royal guard. One who believed I'd serve a greater purpose." "Someday, did he know I was still alive?" Leo nodded. He hoped one day you'd find the truth. They took weapons from the rebels and continued downhill. By dusk, they reached an abandoned outpost hidden in a crater. Inside, old computers and storage units were covered in dust. Leo powered one on. "What is this place?" "Forgotten archive," he said. "Your father built it before the war. Only a few knew about it, including me." He typed a few commands. The screen lit up with royal records, old photos, names, reports. Serenya sat beside him. "Can it show me what happened to you?" Leo nodded. He brought up a file titled Servant Protocol Savannah. "Leo." It showed her everything. His name, his loyalty to the crown, his secret oath to protect her, even in death. It showed how the council removed him to avoid scandal, how they erased his history and declared him unfit to serve. Serena's hands trembled. They lied to me, to everyone. Leo closed the file. I never stopped serving you, even when they called me worthless. She looked at him, tears quietly forming in her eyes. You were never worthless. He smiled slightly. You were the only reason I survived. Suddenly, the computer beeped. An incoming signal. Someone's tracking this outpost, Leo. Said we have to move. They ran into the cold again, heading toward a transport station a few miles east. The Empire wouldn't stop. Neither would the rebels. Both feared the truth Serenia now held. After an hour of walking through rough terrain, Serenia stumbled. Leo caught her. We'll rest soon, he said. No, she said. We keep going. But he saw the pain in her eyes. She was tired, and not just from the cold. The truth she now carried was heavy. They found shelter beneath a rock ledge. Leo made a small fire again. He handed her his own coat. She didn't refuse this time. Why did you protect me all these years, even after they threw you away? She asked. He stared at the stars above. Because I made a promise. And because you were kind to me when no one else was? She blinked. I was. He nodded. You once gave me a scarf. You said it looked too cold for me to stand outside every night. You were just a child, but that meant everything to me. Look down. I don't remember doing that. I do, he said softly. I've never forgotten. They sat in silence again, but this time the silence felt warm. The wind had stopped by morning, but the air still held a sharp chill. Leo woke early, checking the area before Serenia even opened her eyes. His boots left faint prints in the frost as he walked around the ledge, listening carefully. No drones. No footsteps. At least for now, they were safe. Serenia sat up, pulling his coat tighter around her. She looked tired, not just from walking, but from the truth that now lived inside her. Her mind raced with memories, new and old, and all of them now pointed to one person. Leo, we should keep moving, she said. Leo nodded. We're close to a hidden signal tower. If I can access it, I might be able to reach a contact. Someone who still works in the palace shadows. Friend? She asked. Someone who owes me? They hiked through narrow rocky paths until they reached a long-forgotten satellite station, half covered in vines and snow. Leo punched in a code, and the old doors creaked open. The inside was quiet, dusty, and dark. He powered it up with a hand-crank battery he carried. Screens blinked. Lights hummed. Stay close, he said. He sent out a short, encrypted signal. Minutes passed in silence. Serenia watched the door, gripping the blade Leo had given her. Finally, a voice crackled through the speaker. Code confirmed. Is it really you, Leo? Yeah, it's me. We thought you were dead. Not yet. Who's with you? Leo glanced at Serenia. Someone important. Someone they want silenced. The voice was quiet for a long time. Then it spoke. Again, then listen carefully. The High Council knows you're alive. They issued an order to erase you again, and this time they've included the princess. Serenia's breath caught. Leo's jaw tightened. They're hunting their own. Now, they already sent a cleanup squad. They'll erase the outpost records, kill anyone involved, and blame the rebels. How long do we have? Leo asked. Maybe a few hours? I'll send a dropship to the canyon point. Be there in 2 hours. The signal cut. Leo turned to Serenia. They want you gone. Serenia looked away. They see me as a threat. If the people learn the truth, everything will break. They left the station fast. No more slow walks. No more hiding. Every step felt like it might be their last. Leo led them down through the snow-covered cliffs, sliding over frozen stones and jumping from ledges. Serenia followed, silent and focused. When they reached the canyon, they saw the dropship waiting in the distance. But they weren't alone. A squad of 5 soldiers stood nearby, imperial armor, royal crest, silent and deadly. They hadn't noticed them yet. Leo pulled Serenia behind a rock. Wait here. She grabbed his arm. You can't fight them alone. He looked into her eyes. I've done it before. I'm not leaving you, she said. He didn't argue. Instead, he handed her a small pulse grenade.
Ow.
On my mark, throw this. They crept along the edge, hiding behind boulders and ruined metal. Leo moved fast, quiet. Then he raised his hand. Serena threw the grenade. A bright flash blinded the squad. Leo moved like lightning, taking down 2 guards before they could recover. Serena used her blade to cut the straps of one soldier's weapon and kicked him down the rocks. The fight was hard. Squad was skilled. One soldier shot Leo in the shoulder, burning through armor. He grunted but kept going. Together, they finished the fight, standing breathless in the snow. The drop. Ship opened its hatch. Get inside. The pilot shouted. Leo helped Serena up the ramp. He followed, bleeding but standing tall. Inside, the ship lifted fast, disappearing into the clouds before any backup arrived. The pilot, a young alien man with quick hands and sharp eyes, looked at them through the mirror. You two just made half the Empire nervous. Nice work. Serena leaned back in her seat. They tried to erase my life, but they forgot one thing. What's that? The pilot asked. They left someone behind who remembered me. Leo sat beside her, silent but proud. The pilot handed her a datapad. We intercepted something before your fight. Message. From the council to the public. They said the princess is dead, lost in battle, they claim. Serena's hands trembled. They already buried me in lies. Leo spoke firmly. Then we show them the truth. They reached a hidden rebel station, deep underground, buried beneath a desert world. The base was quiet, but its walls were strong. Inside, leaders from different planets waited. Some were human, some alien. All were ready to hear what the princess had to say. When Serena stepped forward, they stared in shock. Many thought she was dead. Others thought she was loyal to the Empire, but her eyes told a different story now. The Empire lied, she said. They erased their own people. They erased the man who stood by me. They tried to erase me, but they failed. The room was quiet. She stepped back and let Leo speak. He told them everything. The records, the lies, the betrayal, the secret duty he had taken as a boy, and how the truth had survived inside him. The room changed. The people stood. They didn't bow. They didn't salute. They simply listened and believed. The rebel station was quiet after the meeting. Whispers filled the halls. Some leaders were scared, others excited. For many of them, this was the first time seeing Princess Serena alive, and even more shocking, seeing her stand beside a human warrior as her equal. Serena sat alone in a small chamber, looking at her reflection in the metal wall. Her royal markings were still visible, but they meant something different now. They were no longer signs of power. They were reminders of what the Empire tried to erase. The door slid open. Leo stepped in, his arm freshly bandaged. He moved slowly. The wound from the canyon, fight still healing. You should rest, he said. I can't, she replied. They buried me in lies. I can't just hide while others fight for me. Leo nodded. Then we give the people the truth. She looked at him. How? We send a signal, a message, to every corner of the galaxy. Show them what the Empire did. Show them you're alive. We'll try to block it, she said. They'll try, he agreed. But we'll still reach them. The rebel communication room. The techs inside stared when the princess entered, but quickly began setting up the system. Large screens lit up. Cameras turned on. Mics buzzed to life. Leo stood beside her as she faced the camera. You don't have to do this, he said softly. I do, she replied. The light turned green. She took a breath. My name is Princess Serena of the Azrael line. Seeing this, it means the Empire lied to you. She told the truth, how she was sent to the front, how her ship was destroyed, how the Empire tried to erase her. She told them about Leo, the human boy who was once her companion, thrown away by those in power. She spoke of the old palace songs, the hidden files, the soldiers sent to kill her, and she ended with a promise. I am not here to reclaim my throne. I am here to destroy the lies. I am standing with those who remember the truth. Join us. For revenge, but for justice, feed ended. Across the galaxy, people watched in silence. On trade ships, in marketplaces, in deep space colonies, everyone saw her face and heard her voice. The Empire's walls began to crack, but not everyone was pleased. On the far side of the Empire, Grand Counselor Thaler slammed his fist on it. Tables she lives, and she has the people's ear. General stepped forward. What are your orders, Counselor? Find her, crush the rebels, and bring me the human alive. Alive. Yes, Thaler growled. He's the symbol. Now, we'll break him in front of the galaxy. Back at the rebel station, support began arriving. Ships from small planets, mercenaries, even former Imperial soldiers joined the cause. They brought weapons, food, and most of all hope. But with new support came new danger. One night, an explosion rocked the east wing of the station. Alarms screamed. Leo and Serenia ran to the scene. Flames danced across the walls. Medics pulled injured rebels from the rubble. Was it an accident? Serenia asked. Leo picked up a small black chip. No, it's Imperial tech. Someone had betrayed them. The next day, one of the new arrivals, a tall alien named Vorin, was caught sneaking into the weapon room. He carried a small device that could call down a beacon strike. He's a spy, a rebel shouted. Kill him. Wait, Leo said, stepping between them. Don't act like the Empire. Give him a trial, Serenia agreed. We fight for truth, not fear. Vorin was locked up. The station tightened security. Still, trust was shaken. We can't win this way, a rebel leader said. They'll keep sending spies. The people will grow afraid. Serenia looked around the room, then we remind them why we fight. She stepped to the center. The Empire thinks we are weak, but we have something they don't. Memory, loyalty, truth. Leo added, we don't need their crowns or flags. We just need each other. Slowly the rebels nodded. The fire returned to their eyes. Plans began to form. Messages were sent to outer systems. Teams were built. And at the heart of it all stood a princess who was supposed to be dead and a human who was never supposed to matter. Later that night, Serenia and Leo stood on the roof of the station, watching stars pass above. Do you ever wish things had been different? She asked. Leo didn't answer right away. Sometimes, but then I remember. If they hadn't thrown me away, I wouldn't be the one beside you now. She looked at him, her eyes soft. You were always beside me. I just didn't know it. A soft smile touched his lips. I didn't need you to know. I just needed to keep my promise. The stars glowed above, but a new fire burned on the planet below. A rebellion not built on hate, but on a bond that refused to be forgotten. The rebel station was stronger now. More people had joined. Ships came in every day with supplies and support. Across the galaxy, the truth was spreading. The name Serenia was no longer a secret. It had become a symbol of hope. And beside her, always, stood Leo. But the Empire was not silent. A message came from the Central Empire Zone. It was marked with the royal seal. The message was short. Princess Serenia, we ask for peace. Come to the Citadel and speak with us. Bring one companion only. No weapons.
Ow.
We swear safety under royal law. Everyone in the room stared at the message. It's a trap, one rebel leader said. They'll kill you the moment you enter, another warned. Leo looked at Serenia. We don't need to go. The people already believe you. But Serenia stood tall. They're afraid. That means we're winning. If I don't go, they'll call me a coward. If I do go and walk out alive, the Empire will lose more than just power. They'll lose their control. Leo nodded. Then I'm going with you. The rebel council tried to stop them, but the choice was made. Within the hour, Serenia and Leo left the station in a small shuttle. They carried no weapons. Only courage and hidden truth. The Citadel stood like a dark tower in the middle of a shining city. Royal flags waved in the air. Guards in white armor waited at the landing bay. The shuttle landed, and the ramp opened. The guards raised their weapons but did not fire. One stepped forward. Princess Serenia. Human. Follow us. They walked through cold metal halls. Everything was too clean, too quiet. Serenia's boots echoed against the floor, but she showed no fear. Leo walked one step behind her, not as a bodyguard, but as someone who had walked these halls before and remembered the shadows that lived here. They entered the grand hall. It was wide, with tall glass windows and glowing banners. And at the far end stood 3 members of the Royal Council, including Grand Counselor Thaler. "You've returned," Thaler said, his voice deep. "And you brought your servant." Leo said nothing. "He is not my servant," Serenia said. "He is my equal." Thaler smiled, but it was cold, so dramatic. "The galaxy loves a good story. This is not a story," she said. "This is the truth." "Then tell the truth here before us," Thaler said. "Explain why you fight against your own people." "Because my people were lied to. You tried to erase me. You tried to kill him. You used fear to control the Empire. But it ends now." "You speak boldly for someone surrounded by guards," Thaler said. Leo finally spoke. "If you were going to kill her, you would have done it already. You're afraid." One of the council members slammed the table. "Silence, human." Serenia raised her hand. "No. Let him speak."
Ow.
Leo stepped forward. "You were afraid of what I was, even when I was a child. Not because I was dangerous, but because I reminded her of kindness. You took me away thinking it would change her. But you were wrong. I never left her, and she never forgot." Thaler's face twitched. "You should have stayed in the mines." "I survived," Leo said. "And now I'm standing here, beside the one you feared most." The hall fell silent. Thal slowly stood. "You're not the only one who remembers the past." He clapped his hands. A side door opened, and out walked a tall figure in royal armor. Serenia's eyes widened. It was General Sarah, once her protector, once her friend. Sarah looked at CEY. Ra looked at her with no emotion. "I was told you died. I cried for you. And now," Serenia asked. "Now, I obey the crown." Leo stepped in front of Sura. Ra drew a blade. "You always stood between her and danger. Even as a child. Now you'll bleed for it." "I'll bleed before I let her fall," Leo said. But Serenia raised her hand. "No." She stepped forward. "Sarah, I'm not your enemy. The real enemy is the council behind you. They used both of us, you know it." Sarah paused. Her hand tightened around the blade. Then she turned her eyes to Thaler. "You told me she betrayed us." "She did," Thaler shouted. "She's starting a war." "No," Serenia said. "I'm ending one." Sarah looked back at her, then slowly, she dropped the blade. "I remember who you are," Sarah said. Softly, "You used to sneak food to the guards who stood outside your room. You were never like them." Thaler shouted again. "Guards, arrest them all." But no one moved. One by one, the guards lowered their weapons. They had watched the message. They had seen the change. They were no longer sure who the real enemy was. Leo looked around. "Looks like your trap failed." Serenia stepped toward the council table. "Your rule is over. People will decide. What happens next? Not you." In that moment, the Empire began to fall. Not by force, but by truth. And beside the fallen banners stood a princess who had once been erased, and the human who never gave up on her. The fall of the council chamber sent a message louder than any weapon. It was not just the collapse of an empire's rule, it was the beginning of something new. The moment Princess Serenia stepped out of the citadel, surrounded by guards who no longer followed orders blindly, the galaxy began to listen. Her message had already reached the far corners of space. Now, her actions confirmed the truth. She was alive. She was real. She was not alone. By the time she and Leo returned to the rebel station, hundreds more had joined their cause. Humans, aliens, former soldiers, even citizens who had once served the Empire. They carried food, data, and stories of their own. And with them came one question. What happens now? Inside the main chamber of the station, the rebel leaders met again. The room was crowded. Tired faces, hopeful eyes. Serenia stood at the center, Leo at her side. The Empire is still dangerous, one leader said. The High Council may be broken, but the admirals still command fleets. They could attack any time. We need to strike first, another voice said. Cut off their power lines. Take their shipyards. Leo looked around the room. Fighting alone won't fix everything. We need to give people something to believe in, something stronger than fear. And what do you suggest? Someone asked. Serenia took a deep breath. We offer peace. The room went silent. Peace, a rebel asked. After everything they did. Yes, she said. Because this fight isn't just about revenge. It's about changing the future. We're not trying to become a new empire. We're trying to build something better, Leo added. If we destroy everything, we become like them. If we show mercy, we break the cycle. Many nodded. Some were unsure, but the spark had been lit. They sent out a message this time, not a warning or a cry for help, but a call to unite, to every system, every race, every forgotten world. Join us, not to conquer, but to rebuild. We welcome all who believe in truth, justice, and freedom. No throne, no crown, just a voice for every soul. As the message spread, something surprising happened. One by one, Imperial ships began to turn. Some surrendered. Some sent secret supplies. Some simply stopped fighting, but not all. From deep in the Empire's last stronghold, Admiral named Varen refused to give up. He'd built his power in the shadows, and he saw Serenia as a threat to his control. They follow a ghost. He said, then we remind them what fear looks like. Sent his war fleet 30 ships strong toward the rebel station. Leo saw the warning first. He stood at the edge of the command deck, eyes on the blinking red signals. They're coming, he told Serenia. She nodded. Then we stand. The station went into full alert. Engineers ran to their ships. Engineers worked fast. Defense towers powered up. They weren't as strong as the Empire's fleet, but they had something else. Hope. Leo entered a fighter, ready to fly. But Serenia stopped him. Stay with me, she said. This time, we face it together. They stood on the command platform as the first enemy ships arrived. Admiral Brune's voice came through the channel. Surrender the princess. Surrender the station. Or be destroyed. Serenia replied calmly. We are not afraid of you. And we are not alone. Suddenly, new signals lit up the screen. Ships appeared from the left, rebel fighters from the outer colonies. More came from the right, hold Imperial cruisers that had joined Serenia's cause. Behind them, civilian ships, medical ships even, traders all standing together. Admiral Varen's fleet was outnumbered. Still, he gave the order, attack. Battle broke out in the sky. But this time, it wasn't just fire and death. Pilots flew with purpose. They protected each other. They defended not to destroy, but to protect what they believed in. On the command deck, Serenia gave orders calmly, her voice steady. Leo watched the screens, directing defenses and calling out threats. The battle raged for an hour. Then one by one, Varan's ships began to fall back. His own commanders refused to continue. They had heard the princess. They had seen the people stand together. Finally, Voran's ship was alone. He opened the channel one last time. You've taken everything, he said. What now? Will you kill me too? Serenia looked at the screen. No, but your time is over. Surrender, or be forgotten. Varen shut down his weapons. The battle was over. Cheers filled the station. On every screen, people watched history change. Serenia and Leo stood together in the silence that followed. The stars looked different. Now, not because they had changed, but because the future had. Outside the station, ships flew in formation. Not as soldiers, but as equals. Humans and aliens, side by side. We did it, Leo said. No, Serenia replied. We started it. It smiled together. Always. And in that moment, the galaxy felt a new kind of peace, not ruled by fear, but led by memory, by promise, and by a bond that had never been broken.